It begins with a single leaf. Not gold, not diamonds, but a simple green leaf that would go on to shape empires, spark wars, and connect cultures across the world. Today, billions of people start their day with it. But thousands of years ago, it was nothing more than a mysterious plant growing deep in the mountains of China. This is the incredible story of tea. Our story begins around 2737 BCE. According to ancient legend, a Chinese emperor named Shennong was boiling water under a tree. As the wind gently blew, a few leaves drifted into his pot. Curious, he tasted the infusion. What he discovered would change the world forever. The flavor was refreshing, the aroma soothing, and just like that, tea was born. Now, whether this story is fact or myth, one thing is certain. Tea quickly became deeply rooted in Chinese culture. At first, it wasn't a casual drink. It was medicine. People believed tea could cleanse the body, improve focus, and even extend life. And honestly, they weren't entirely wrong. As centuries passed, tea evolved. During the Tang Dynasty, tea drinking became an art form. A scholar named Lu Yu wrote the first ever book about tea, the classic of tea. He didn't just describe how to brew tea. He elevated it into a philosophy. Tea was no longer just a drink. It was a symbol of harmony, respect, and peace. Monks drank it to stay awake during long meditation sessions. Scholars drank it to sharpen their minds. Tea became a way of life. By the 9th century, tea began its journey beyond China. Buddhist monks carried tea seeds to Japan. There, tea transformed again. It became deeply spiritual. The Japanese tea ceremony, slow, deliberate, and precise, turned tea into a ritual of mindfulness. Every movement mattered. Every sip had meaning. Tea wasn't just consumed. It was experienced. For centuries, tea remained largely unknown to the Western world. That changed in the 1600s. European traders, especially the Dutch East India Company, brought tea to Europe. At first, it was exotic, rare, expensive. Only the wealthy could afford it. In places like England, tea quickly became a status symbol. If you had tea, you had power. No country embraced tea quite like Britain. By the 18th century, tea had become a daily necessity. And one woman helped make it even more iconic: Anna, Duchess of Bedford. She introduced the concept of afternoon tea, a light meal with tea, snacks, and conversation. It wasn't long before the entire nation followed. But there was a problem. Britain didn't grow tea. They had to import it from China, and it was expensive. So they turned to trade. And that trade would lead to conflict. To balance trade with China, Britain began exporting opium. This created massive tension, eventually leading to the Opium Wars. These wars changed global power dynamics. China lost control over parts of its trade, and Britain gained more influence. But Britain had another plan. They wanted to grow tea themselves. In the 1800s, the British discovered wild tea plants in Assam. They began large-scale tea plantations across India and later in Sri Lanka. This changed everything. Tea was no longer rare. It became accessible to the masses. And with that, tea transformed from a luxury into a global habit. Meanwhile, across the ocean, tea played a key role in the birth of a nation. In 1773, American colonists protested British taxes on tea. In an act of rebellion, they dumped an entire shipment of tea into the harbor. This event became known as the Boston Tea Party. It wasn't just about tea. It was about freedom, and it helped ignite the American Revolution. By the 19th and 20th centuries, tea had spread across the globe. Different cultures made it their own. In South Asia, tea became chai, rich with milk, sugar, and spices. In Britain, it remained a refined tradition. In China and Japan, it stayed deeply cultural and spiritual. And in America, it took on a new form: iced tea. Refreshing, simple, and perfect for hot summer. Today, tea is the second most consumed beverage in the world, after water. From busy cities to quiet villages, from morning routines to late-night conversations, tea is everywhere. And yet, every cup carries thousands of years of history. Empires rose because of it. Wars were fought over it. Cultures were shaped by it. All from a single leaf. So the next time you hold a cup of tea, take a moment. Because you're not just drinking a beverage. You're tasting history. A story that began in ancient China, traveled across continents, and continues with you. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thanks for your watching.